that time of year, it's fall season, and I know a lot of people have already put out their top 10 lists, but at the end of the day, this is South Louisiana, and we're just now experiencing fall. We're seeing leaves fall on the ground, the temperatures are starting to go down, it's starting to feel livable outside, and so with that being said, these are my top 10 fall fragrances that I will be wearing this fall season. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? My name is Joshua, as always, and this is our channel, ScentSense. To all loyal subscribers and viewers for your continued support, I thank you so much. And to all you new people who may be checking out the channel for the very first time, and you're not too sure if you want to stick around, it costs you nothing. You click the subscribe button. There's a little bell. When you click that, it notifies you on your phone like all the other apps that blow your phone up with notifications. What's one more? What's one more? Just one more for you, boy. Moving right along, we're gonna jump right into the nitty gritty of this. These are gonna be my top 10 fall fragrances for the year 2020. Usually my fall fragrances are not as dark and deep and as dense as some fragrances you might see on other lists. Mainly that's because I like lighter fall fragrances. Also, that's because here in South Louisiana, those super rich and decadent dark fall fragrances just don't cut the mustard until winter. So some people's fall list is my winter list. I'm pretty sure you understand that. Starting off the list at number 10 is a fragrance from my favorite designer house, and that is Versace. This fragrance is often compared to Oud Wood by Tom Ford. This is often known as a screechier, more synthetic, cheaper version of that fragrance, but it definitely gets the job done if you're looking for something on a budget. From the house of Versace, at number 10, Oud Noir. Oud Noir has highlighted fragrance notes such as oud, saffron, cardamom, and pepper. This is a smooth oud fragrance that's not super heavy on the oud, which is a lot like Tom Ford's Oud Wood. When I say smooth, I mean 30 and 40 minutes into the wearing of this fragrance, because right out the gates, you're gonna get a screechy, harsh, not as well blended version of Oud Wood. So this is one of those fragrances that if you walked into a store and you sprayed it on a tester strip and smelled it, your immediate reaction may be kind of off-putting. As the fragrance starts to wear in, the cardamom starts to come to the front, the wood starts to come to the front, and you get more of a creamy, smooth, yummy goodness that you get from Oud Wood. So if you're looking for something that doesn't cost $200 something plus, go ahead and check out Versace's Oud Noir. At number 9 is a fragrance that often makes almost every top 10 list when it comes to fall, but this one is a staple and I feel like it needs no introduction. From the house of MYRRH, Pure HAVANNE. As I said, this is a staple in most fragrance heads' arsenals when it comes to the months of fall. Looking at tobacco, cacao, honey, vanilla. For your average folks out there, cacao is chocolate. So think a sweet yet decadent fragrance with tobacco, which gives that earthiness to it. This is going to be something that's going to work really, really well at nighttime. This is something that I would say you wear to maybe a gathering that's outdoors, especially in 2020. This is something you can definitely smell through the mask because it definitely projects well. I would suggest getting this if you don't have anything in the realm of a sweet tobacco fragrance. If you do, maybe just check it out. But if you don't, this is one that will definitely do justice for you if that's what you're into. At number 9, from the house of MYRRH, Pure HAVANNE. At number 8 is a fragrance when it comes to the month of fall is overlooked for its denser, heavier younger brother, which is DIOR Homme Parfum. But sometimes you gotta go with part 1 of the movie line because usually part 1's the best. From the house of DIOR, DIOR Homme. This you're gonna get iris, cacao, leather, and lavender. So the iris is going to give you a clean, fresh smell. The lavender kind of aids to that. And the leather and chocolate is going to give you more of a suit and tie, more alluring, sweet, provocative smell, more manly smell. This is a blend of two worlds that kind of just blends perfectly together. This leans a little more metrosexual for some. For some people, they may feel it's a little too feminine. I don't think that. I've become more and more acquainted with iris, and I feel I'm not as off-put by iris. Most people in the South will kind of look at you kind of funny, will be kind of confused, but this has an alluring quality. And women tend to really enjoy it because they really enjoy the way some of these notes smell on them. So it kind of lends credence to that whole, they smell themselves in this fragrance. This is a really nice, gentlemanly fragrance. Coming in at number 8 from the house of DIOR, DIOR HOMME. And number 7 is a fragrance that is often looked at as the only fragrance from the line that is palatable to the average fragrance fan. This fragrance took an overly sweet, overly loud fragrance and made it smooth, seductive, alluring, manly, and weather appropriate for the months of fall and winter. In the house of Paco Rabanne, 1 million Privé. In this, you're gonna get cinnamon, tobacco, tonka, and myrrh. You still have the sweetness from the tonka, you still have that cinnamon note that you get in the original, but the myrrh and the tobacco work really well in this. This becomes a whole new world. This is like a cognac on ice. This is delicious. This is something that's gonna make you smell really debonair. This is gonna make you smell like a full-grown man. This is gonna be something that is going to feel different to the average person who doesn't know a lot about fragrance. When they're gonna be used to smelling the Dior Sauvages and the Versace Dylan Blues of the world, when they smell this, they're gonna think, this dude's different. Now, to your average fragrance fan, this is gonna be something that kind of leans towards the other fall fragrances I've listed and you know and love. But if you're looking for something that's going to have your average person who's gonna smell you thinking, you smell sexy, check out 1 million's Privé. And number 6 is a fragrance that I will definitely rock any time of the year because I have such a huge love and fascination for it. But alas, it works really well in the months of fall. Sadly, it's discontinued, but it's not really hard to find. You can usually find it on the web or somebody in a fragrance group is selling it because they just don't know what they have. From the house of Givenchy, Givenchy Play Intense. Play Intense features notes such as tonka, coffee, pink pepper, and patchouli. This is a staple in a lot of friends of mine in the fragrance community, such as Manny from Cascade Scents and Jesse Aboige, to name a couple of YouTubers. This one right here is a very underrated coffee-centric fragrance. It's often overlooked. It is discontinued, so maybe I'm not 100% on base, but I think it's something that definitely lends a new smell to the notes of coffee. It has the patchouli in there and the tonka, so you're gonna get that same kind of vibe that you get in a lot of fall fragrances, but this one really does really well with coffee. The patchouli in this really adds an earthy vibe to it. It kind of pulls down the sweetness, gives a little more masculinity. I think this is a fantastic fragrance if you're looking for something with coffee and you're not too sure how far you wanna go with it. This is a dumb reach for the note of coffee. So anyway, guys, coming in at number 6 from the house of Givenchy, Givenchy Play Intense. And number 5 is a fragrance that I've worn to pretty much every wedding I've ever gone to, except for the last one I went to, which I didn't wear. But alas, this is definitely a date night fragrance. This is a smooth and seductive fragrance which only has one Achilles heel, and that is longevity. From the house of Dolce & Gabbana, Dolce & Gabbana, the 1 EDP. Dolce & Gabbana the 1 EDP is a step up from the 1, which was definitely lacking in the projection department. Amber, tobacco, ginger, cardamom, those are a few of the notes that are highlighted in this fragrance. This is a sexy fragrance. If someone were to ask me, what is a fragrance that makes you feel sexy or that you think shows alluring qualities or is a fragrance that invokes a response from the opposite sex or even the same sex in a way that makes you feel like this is really the ticket, this one right here. I don't really believe fragrances get you laid. I think they're only, a thing that kind of heightens who you are. But definitely out of all the fragrances I can think of, this is one that I think definitely will take you up that next notch if you're already swinging for the fences. For that date night, wedding, that sexy dress up suit and tie night, if you're gonna look for one of those fragrances, I suggest you reach for Dolce & Gabbana the 1 EDP. At number 4 is a celebrity fragrance. It's a fragrance that just came out, and I have to say It's going to be my dumb reach fragrance of the fall. This is an easy to wear, light, mass appealing, not over pushing, not cloying fragrance from the house of David's Perfume, aka David Dobrik. Perfume number 1, Amber and Cashmere. So this is the very first release from the house of David's Perfume, which is owned and operated by David Dobrik, the YouTube superstar. This fragrance hosts notes of amber and cashmere. That's all the website will tell you. It's got woodsy notes, alluring notes, but I have to say there is a ton of ISO E Super in this. This was made by the same perfume who made Squid from Zoologist, who made Shawn Mendes's fragrance. This is a fragrance perfumer who is very good when it comes to making celebrity fragrances that just work. This is gonna be something that you can have as an everyday driver. It is, like I said, super full of ISO E Super, so the longevity should be great, but the notes are really subdued notes. One fragrance that it smells a lot like, in my opinion, is Cheeky Smile from Juicebox. This is a much more subdued version of that, but this here is something that I think will just feel alluring. It's very unisex. I think that it's not something that only a man can pull off. And like I said, it's not very like projection heavy. This is something that'll sit closer to the skin. This is a more close contact fragrance, but I feel like it'll last forever. And the wearings that I've worn it, it's done pretty well. From the house of David's Perfume, Amber and Cashmere. At number 3 is another discontinued fragrance. And if you don't get your hands on this one, you can get the original like everybody else. But here in South Louisiana, the original is a little too heavy for this time of year. From the house of Victor and Rolf, SPICEBOMB Fresh. Highlighted by notes of pepper, pink pepper, tobacco, and grapefruit, this is a fresher, lighter take on SPICEBOMB. This is something that I think you could even wear in the later months of summer. This is something that I think is much better than the original. It's not nearly as off-putting as some people feel the original can be. It's not choking, it's not cloying, and this you can spray a lot more heavily than the original. The only complaints I've ever had about the original are that it's just a little bit too much. And this right here just takes a little bit off the top. If you're looking for something that's a lighter alternative to that fall favorite, that fragrance that's a staple in a lot of people's collection for this time of year, look for SPICEBOMB Fresh. At number 2 is yet again a fragrance that is number 1 in the movie line of fragrances for this brand. This is the originator. This is the part 1, as I said, from the house of Chanel. At number 2 on my list is ALLURE HOMME. Often overlooked for its 2 younger brothers in ALLURE HOMME Sport and Sport Eau Extreme, this one right here was the originator, the predecessor, the guy that started it all. Highlighted by notes of vanilla, lemon, peach, and tonka, this is a smooth, gentlemanly fragrance. This is not a lot like the other fragrances. This is more gentlemanly. This is a little more mature, a little older. This is not for a younger guy. If you want something that's more for a younger guy, you might want to reach for Eau Extreme in these fall months. But for me personally, I really like this one. It makes me feel a little more mature. This is something when I wear if I'm around my mother-in-law or older people and I'm visiting older people, it makes me feel like I'm a little more mature than I really am. I mean, I'm walking around with a backwards hat on and I constantly get comments about that. But at the end of the day, it's something that makes me feel a little more mature. And at the end of the day, for me, fragrances is about you. If you're looking for a mature older brother to ALLURE HOMME Sport or Eau Extreme, and you're looking for something that's different and unique, because you probably haven't smelled it before, from the house of Chanel, ALLURE HOMME. And number 1 is a designer fragrance that is a little high on the price tag. This is from the private line of YSL, or Yves Saint Laurent. From the house of Yves Saint Laurent, at number 1 is TUXEDO. Ambergris, violet, patchouli, vanilla. This is suit and tie. I'm awesome. I'm important. Look at me, smell me, fear me. I'm a badass. That's what this is in a bottle. The name fits it perfectly. This is a tuxedo in a bottle. and I really, really like it. As you can see, I'm pretty low on the juice. I did buy this as a partial. I have burned through half of this. This is easily, without a doubt, one of, in my opinion, the most underrated fragrances out there. Cuba from Cubano channel definitely mentioned this before. I was 100% on board with him when I smelled it. This is, without a doubt, I'm a full-grown man fragrance. This is something that I'm gonna wear if ever I can take my wife out on a date. This is something that I'm gonna, you know, set candles out in the backyard and a lit backyard and dress up and eat dinner with my wife. That's what this is right here. And for you guys who are braving COVID and, you know, throwing, you know, your worries to the wind, and you checking out girls, or, you know, girls, you want to check out dudes or whatever. You're looking for that someone special in the middle of COVID, and you want to smell unique and spectacular and important all at the same time. Right here. At number 1 for my fall designer list from the house of YSL, TUXEDO. All right, that about does it for me. If you stuck around this long, that tells me you've enjoyed the content. So please do consider subscribing. Heck, just subscribe. It's free, it costs you nothing, and you can always undo it later. If you do, go ahead and leave a comment. And also, while you're at it, like this video, because it just helps to show that you're enjoying what you see. Thank you so much for stopping by. I thank you so much for sticking it out with me and watching the entirety of this video. And I hope you have a safe and happy fall season. Thank you so much. And most importantly, I'll smell each and every one of you later. Peace.